In this video, we are going to be looking at database support materials and the Research in Context database. The first thing that you're going to want to do is navigate your way to the high school library homepage. And once you're at the high school library homepage, you're going to want to click on the link that's over here on the right that says Research Databases. This is the Research Databases page. Alright, and these are all represent different databases. Research in Context is the database that we're going to be exploring in just a couple of minutes. But first, we need to scroll all the way down until we find the heading here that says Database Support Materials. There are a couple important things that I want to point out to you that are going to be useful for you in completing this assignment. The first thing that I want to point out to you is this link right here that says Home Access Passwords. When you access the databases here at school, you are not going to be asked for any kind of password. You're going to automatically go into those databases. Some of the databases, however, will ask you for a password when you go to access them from home. This sheet that I've just opened shows you what those passwords are. So you can see here that for Research in Context, as well as the InfoTrack collection, which is the second database we're going to be looking at, the password in both instances is Rockets. All right. Also on this sheet are passwords for other databases, things we're not going to be using for this assignment, but that you may be called upon to use for a different activity. So important to know, home access passwords are Rockets. Alright, another thing that's on the home access, on the database support materials page that I want you to be aware of is the MLA documentation guide. All of the sources that you utilize in constructing your brochure or your presentation have to be documented. Whenever we take information from other magazine articles, newspaper articles, books, information that is not of our own creation, we need to give credit to the original creator of that material. So the MLA documentation guide is here. The first part talks about print resources, so we have our example for documenting books. If we scroll down a little further, we start getting into the online resources, and we're looking at Research in Context here first. So here is where you would find the different examples of how to cite sources that you might be pulling from Research in Context. So I want to make sure that you know that. The other thing that it's really important to mention, and that is sometimes hard for students to understand, and that is the fact that the resources that you're going to access from these research databases are not considered internet resources. When we talk about using internet resources, we are talking specifically about resources that you've gained, let's say through using Google, doing a Google search. The websites that your results list are going to take you to, those are true internet sources. With the research databases, we're using the internet to access them, but they're still considered a magazine source, a book source, a newspaper source, whatever format they originally were published in, that's what they are considered to be. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Okay, so that's all we need to look at in terms of support materials. So let's jump right in. I'm going to click, and Research in Context is going to open. I think you're going to find that it's a very user-friendly, very easy database to use. Okay. In Research in Context, as you're going to see, you're going to be able to access reference materials, magazine articles, newspaper articles, books, audio, and video. Okay, those are the different types of resources that are going to be available to you in Research in Context. We've spent a lot of time over the last couple of days talking about Boolean searching and why it's necessary to use that when we're using the research databases. And so our Boolean searching is going to come into play today. It's very important when using Research in Context that you go to the Advanced Search option. So we're going to click on Advanced Search. Hopefully what you readily notice here is that we have multiple search boxes. What I want you to also notice right here on the left is AND. All right, we've talked about AND being the primary Boolean search term that we use because so often, or the majority of the time, we are needing to narrow our search. But if you decide that you need to use or not, if you click on the down arrow, you're going to see that or and not are available for you here as well. Alright, for my little example for you, I'm going to use the topic of tanning. So I'm going to type tanning into my first box, and you'll notice it gives you some suggestions of words that you might use. To narrow my search, I'm going to use dangers, alright, because that will help me answer one of the essential questions for this assignment. And once I've entered that, I can click right here on search. Alright, so here's what's coming up with searching for the dangers of tanning. There's one audio file that I could listen to for information. I have 15 magazine articles that I can consider, and I have 7 newspaper articles. Alright, so there's the magazines. Notice it does not show all 15 right up front, it just shows you 3. If you want to see all 15, it's necessary to click on the number 15. Then I would have all 15 of my magazines. Alright, I want to go ahead and let's look at one of these articles, and let's look at indoor tanning, unexpected dangers. This will give you a chance to see what the articles look like, and the article format is consistent all the way through. One of the things I want you to notice is that there is a listening feature. So if you want to have the article read to you while you're reading along through the article, that's perfectly acceptable. You obviously just want to get some headphones, but that is an important feature for you to be aware of. Alright, so this is my article, and if I scroll through, you can see that my search terms are in red, which is really helpful. One of the things that I often look at is I look to see how frequently my search terms appear in my article. If my search terms are appearing throughout the article, that tells me that probably the whole entire article is going to have some value and use to me. If I only see my search terms maybe in 3 or 4 paragraphs, then I focus my reading and my attention on those 3 or 4 paragraphs. It's not necessary to read an entire article if the whole article is not going to be useful for you in finding the information that you need to complete your assignment. If you scroll to the bottom of the article, you are going to see the citation information. Alright, you are going to be writing this down on your note-taking sheets, but I wanted to make sure that you knew where to find the information. Now, a couple of things about the citations that are found at the end of these articles. They're a great starting place. They're typically about 85% correct, sometimes as high as 95%, but there's usually a couple of things that need to be addressed. One of the number one things that has to be addressed in the citations is, notice how they've only capitalized the first word, indoor. In reality, both the T, the U, and the D should be capitalized because we capitalize the first letter of important words in titles. So that is a correction that you would need to make on your works cited page. Another thing that you should know, notice we know that our citations need to be double-spaced. Okay, the example here is not double-spaced, it's single-spaced. The other thing that I want you to notice is, remember with citations we have that hanging indent. Remember, it is the first line that comes all the way out to the margin. It is the second line that needs to be indented. And typically when you look at the citation examples that they provide for you at the end of the articles, they will not be indented. So that is something that you need to take care and make sure that you do yourself. Alright, a couple other things about tools that I want to just quickly show you. The citation tool would be another way to get to what we just looked at. Still going to have the same problems. Alright, but at least I want you to know that that's there. You can email the article to yourself if you wish to do that. You can print the article, and that would be here as well. Alright, you also could actually download it and save it as an MP3 file. If you wanted to load it on your phone and listen to it that way, those are all possibilities. Okay, so those are just a couple of the features that I want to make sure that you know. One other thing that I want to do is, let me go back to the results here a second. Alright, can look at the newspapers and just want you to realize that all of those are there. Alright, we went right to the advanced search. because that is the search that I want you to use. But before I leave this, I just kind of want to give you a quick reason of why. All right, I did tanning and I did dangers. If I come right back to the home page here a minute and I type just tanning, I want you to see how many results that I get. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember, but when I went right to advanced search, I think I had 15 magazine articles. All right. Here I have 400. I have 203 newspaper articles. I have 39 reference sources. Okay. Also, I want you to notice, just looking here, I've got tanning that has to do with skins and hides, leather, etc. Tanning has lots of different meanings in our English language. So when you just do the basic search, you're going to get a lot more articles, all right, more than you're going to want to go through to find answers to your essential questions, and you're more likely to get irrelevant results. So again, I just want to emphasize that we want you to go to the advanced search. We want you to type your core search topic in the first box. I'll just do bullying this time to reinforce. And then we want you to use keywords from your essential questions. So let's say bullying and social media. All right, because that's certainly a way that bullying is going to impact teens. Again, notice when I'm using my advanced search, when I'm focusing and narrowing my search using my Boolean search terms, I'm getting a much smaller number of results, and it's going to be much more manageable for me. All right, so that's a quick look into research in context.